Okay, so we're diving into a story that's got everything: a high level official, a huge paper trail, and millions of dollars in public funds just gone. But what's really wild is that this whole thing, the money, the jail time, it all came down to what one single word really meant. So let's start with the big number. We're talking about 41.8 million kina. And just to be clear, that's the currency in Papua New Guinea. This wasn't just some accounting error. This was public money paid out based on just 4 payment requests between 2012 and 2013. A huge amount of cash. And the consequence for signing off on those payments? 22 years. I mean, think about that. 22 years in prison with hard labor. That's the sentence one senior public servant got for his part in all this. So what went down? Well, the state pointed the finger at Jacob Yafai, who was a deputy finance secretary. The accusation? That he dishonestly funneled millions of kina to a private law firm called Paul Paraka Lawyers. And this wasn't just a one-time thing. Oh no, it was a definite pattern. Just take a look at this timeline. This wasn't some slow drip over years. We're talking 4 massive payments, all crammed into just a few months. Every single one went to the same law firm, and yeah, they all add up to that mind-boggling 41 million kina. Okay, so he's facing 5 serious charges. We're talking misappropriation, abuse of office, the whole shebang. So what was his defense? It was pretty straightforward, actually. An argument you've probably heard 100 times. I was just following orders. His whole argument boiled down to this. He said he wasn't being dishonest because he was just acting on what he called political directives and had the green light from his boss, the Secretary for Finance. You know, from his perspective, he got an order, he made the payments, and he believed they were for actual legitimate legal work. But the prosecution said, hold on a second. They argued the paper trail, the actual documents, told a completely different and, frankly, a much worse story for him. And it all hinged on one little note. A single instruction written on a piece of paper. And it all kicked off with this letter right here. The law firm, Paul Paraka Lawyers, shot this over to the Department of Finance. They were claiming they were owed millions for, quote, outstanding legal fees. This is the document that got the ball rolling on everything. Okay, and this is the turning point. When that letter landed on the desk of the finance minister at the time, James Marape, he scribbled a quick note on it. It said, Secretary, please peruse, verify, and settle. And that one word, verify, that's the word the entire case would end up spinning around. And so this question became the absolute heart of the trial. What does it actually mean to verify a government legal claim this big? I mean, does it just mean you check the math? Or is there, a little more to it? So, how is this whole thing supposed to work? Well, a state witness came in and laid out the official process. The proper checks and balances. Step 1, a law firm sends its bill to the Department of Justice. Then, and this is the crucial part, the Solicitor General's office has to vet the claim. They're basically the state's top lawyer for this stuff, and their job is to confirm the bill is legit. Only after they give the okay is it supposed to go to the Department of Finance to be paid. And boom, there it is, the prosecution's smoking gun. That mandatory verification step, it just never happened. The Solicitor General's office, the one group whose entire job was to make sure these bills were real, had zero record of ever seeing them. The most important safety check in the whole system was just skipped. All right, so you've got a direct order to verify, and you've got a clear process that was totally ignored. So how did the court see it? The judge's logic, which came from Chief Justice Sir Gib Salika, was just crystal clear. That whole "I was just following orders" defense, it totally fell apart. Why? Because the main order, right from the top, was to verify. And because Mr. Yafai didn't do that, the court basically said he cost the people of his country dearly. And this really gets to the heart of the disagreement, right? Yafai's side was, hey, I was told to pay. But the court's finding was, no, the order was to verify, then settle. Not sending those bills to the Solicitor General wasn't just some accident or a simple mistake. The court decided that failure was, on its own, a dishonest act. So the final result was a clean sweep for the prosecution. Guilty on all 5 counts. And the sentence for all of it? A total of 22 years with hard labor. So, okay, after all that legal detail, what's the big picture here? Why should we care about this case outside of the courtroom?
Well, it's a huge reminder that 41.8 million kina isn't just some abstract number. It's real money, public money. That's money for schools, for hospitals, for roads. And when it disappears, well, in the end, the ones who really lose out are always the public.
This case is a perfect textbook example of what abuse of office actually is. It shows us exactly why all these rules and procedures exist. They're not just there to be annoying bureaucracy, they're the guardrails. They're what protect public money and make sure people with power are held accountable for what they do. And that really leaves us with one final, pretty heavy question, right? It's a question that gets to the very core of public service and the trust we're supposed to have in our institutions. When those guardrails are ignored, when someone decides to just skip the proper procedure, who really ends up paying the price?